Hello everyone and welcome back. So today I'm actually going to do my favourite and least favourite makeup of 2019. So this year pretty much was the year of trying eyeshadow palettes, foundations and some lip products for me. So I didn't try as much products as I probably did last year because this year I was trying to buy some more high-end products, but the things I have here are my absolute favourites. There are things I'm not mentioning in this video that I love still, and the things that also I mentioned that I did not like are not me bashing the brand. In fact, there are things from most of these brands that I absolutely love. It's just these products did not work for me. I will start with my favourites. This is going to be a long video, so go grab a snack, go, I don't know, put this on your TV, warm blanket, put the fan on, whatever you need to do. So let's just jump straight into it. Alright, so I'm just going to jump into the eyeshadow palettes straight out because there's a lot. Now these are not all the eyeshadows I tried this year, just letting you know, but I have the Huda Beauty little two Obsessions palettes. I have the Mauve Obsessions and the Coral. These are the only two I have tried. I have not tried the other colours. The Mauve one, I cannot remember for the life of me if I tried last year or not, but I really used it this year, so this is beautiful. Honestly, this is like a green-eyed girl's dream. I even love the red that's here. When I freshly dye my hair, and it has that intense red to it because I dye my hair a very dark red, if I want my eyebrows to look perfect, I will sometimes actually put this red shade over my eyebrows. That's what that indent is in there. But these shades are beautiful. The mattes are pigmented. They blend amazing. They blend into each other nicely. And they are super pigmented, super bold. But at the same time, I can still get like an everyday look with this. I also have the Coral Obsessions one, which actually I do have me trying in a video. A link will be down below for that as well. And basically, this is like the neon summer eyeshadow palette that you need if you like oranges and yellowy red colours. So I can still get a bit more of a subdued look if I use this top shade, the middle shade, that one, and maybe this one on the end here. This yellowy mustard shade also adds the most beautiful like golden tone to it, but at the same time you can use these two bottom shades here to get a real intense neon look, and these again are very pigmented. They blend beautifully. The shimmery shades in this one are a little bit harder to actually pick up on my brush. This one, I don't know if you guys can tell, my camera doesn't have autofocus, but it kind of just like it went a little bit, is it called hard pan? So I honestly, this is going to be like a very used palette over the summer, particularly if I'm going out somewhere with my friends. But I do highly recommend these, and honestly, I want all the colours. They are beautiful. The next one is this Smashbox Cover Shot palette. I have been wanting to try these since they launched. I was working at the restaurant a few years ago when these launched, and honestly I was going to buy 2 or 3 on launch day, but I forgot, got too busy, time just disappeared. This one is the one I wanted to try first, and it's in the shade, or it's called Punked. So this is the very cool toned, like dark smoky eye palette. They have some in other colours. I also have the one called Golden Hour, but I have to admit I actually haven't tried that one. So I imagine the shimmery shades are pretty much exactly the same as these, because in the Golden Hour one, all these little ones are shimmers and it's just these two that are matte. I imagine they're still pretty much the same, but I just want to say I have not tried that one. This one, basically, this has pretty much taken over my Kat Von D palette for a cool tone smoky eye. So I have done this with the matte shades, and I have done this with using the shimmery shades. The only shade in here I have to say I pretty much don't use is actually this pale pink on the end here, and it looks like it would be pale enough to go in my inner corner or as a matte lid shade or something, but like it looks like just a slightly pinky toned like beige colour. But on my brushes, and I have used perfectly clean brushes, it comes off like the brightest strawberry milk pink. So I basically can't use that shade. So I don't know if it'll swatch the same. It doesn't even swatch the same like that, but it comes off on my eyes very, very pink. I don't know if the eyeshadow reacts with what I wash my brushes with or if it just reacts with something on my brushes. But that shade I pretty much can't use unless I'm wanting to do like a pinky shade on my lid. But these two shades here, depending on what tone I want for a transition shade, I love. This pale shade here is my absolute favourite. It's my newest favourite shade to use on my lid. It's gorgeous, but the matte shades just blend amazingly well. Like, I can honestly do a full-blown intense smoky eye in like 5 minutes, if that. If I want a smoky eye, cooler tones, this is what I go to. This was probably the palette I was the most excited for this year. This was one that did launch this year and that I tried this year, and it is the Alyssa Edwards palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I love this palette. On the opposite spectrum to pretty much the Smashbox palette, this is bright colours, but at the same time I can still get a neutral-ish look. This matte white is honestly the best matte white I've ever used in my life, and I have used a fair few that are chalky, that are powdery, and that are not very good, but that's the best matte white I've ever used. This shade here called Inspire is like the nicest pale gold shade. My most common smoky eye here is to use a mix of Supreme and Ho as my transition shade, deepen it up with back rolls, and then to use Inspire on my lid and a little bit of Beast, the matte black, as like my eyeliner, and that is the best look ever. The matte shades in here are beautiful. I have to say the only shade I haven't really used is DDC, which is the bright shimmery purple, but I really want to do a purple look. I mean, there's so many purples in here, it's beautiful. But this one, basically the second that I saw the photos of it when it was releasing, the photos that, you know, what it looked like when it was going to be released, I fell in love with it straight away, because any of the other Anastasia palettes that have bright colours in them, I've never really wanted to buy. So there's these rectangle ones that she launches, I want to collect these. The only ones I refuse to buy is Subculture, and to be completely honest, I don't want to buy, is it the Norvina one? I know she's released the big ones. Is it the Norvina one? That's one I did not want, but I really want Modern Renaissance and Soft Glam, so they're as well ones that I would love to get in the future. Maybe I might buy one or two of them with, I plan on spending my Christmas money this year. But this, honestly, so excited to try it. I love it, and this is like my new baby. On the opposite spectrum to all of these, I have my two Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palettes. So these are the Reloaded palettes. This one is in Division, and this one is called Velvet Rose. These are $8 each. $8. This one I used in my, what's it called? My Scarecrow Halloween look. So if you want to see this palette in action, go check out that video. Honestly, I've used it since then. This one I haven't been used as much as the other palette, because this one to me just looks a little bit more autumn wintery than what my other one is. But the shades in here are gorgeous. I do have to say the shimmers are not as intense as, say, my Smashbox ones, my Anastasia ones, but for $8, if you're someone that's on a really big budget, particularly here in Australia, because a lot of our cheap makeup is very cheap. We don't have Wet n Wild and all those other brands that have really good cheap things. Some of our cheap brands are really good for things like lip products, but not necessarily face products. But these Reloaded palettes are $8 each. There is a huge selection. There's one that's pretty much all bright shimmery colours. There's ones that are all mattes. This one has a mixture of matte and shimmers, and I'm pretty sure you can buy one or find one that is suitable for you. So this one is Velvet Rose, and it's just all those warm mustardy, not mustard shades, but like the warm, and this one's all like the warm browns and the terracotta shades, probably that I would use a bit more in the winter, but you know, it's just makeup, there's no rules to when you can wear it. And this one is called Division. Now this is the reason as well why I refuse to buy the Subculture palette by Anastasia. I understand she may have put it, like, changed it back to her original formula and it may be great and things like that, but personally I don't want to run the risk of spending like $80 something on a palette and have it being bad, particularly because no one will then buy it from me, so I can't even sell it. So when I saw they had this one, because I loved the look of the colours in the Subculture palette, I really wanted it. When I saw that they had this one, I grabbed this one as well. I grabbed this one. This is called Division, and this basically is like a dupe for the Subculture palette, except this one does have more shades in it. And my last eyeshadow palette is my Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. I have not used this on camera too much. In fact, I think there was 1 or 2 videos I might have filmed with that Sony camera that I had that I got rid of that I used this with. But yeah, haven't spoken about this too much on camera. I bought this from a friend because she got it for a Christmas or a birthday present or something. And she wears makeup, but she's not as into makeup as I am. And she found that it would wear off her eyes, and I figured out from after trying it and using it, the way that I use this is I don't set my eye primer. After that, they stay on my eyes. But I mean, look at this. These metallic shades, honestly, I have literally never used a palette that has metallic shades like this. Not even Anastasia, Smashbox, or any other brand can get metallic shades looking like these. I know these are eyeshadows and pressed pigment type things, so his formula is a little bit different. This is honestly just the best summer palette. These peachy shades are amazing. Amazing. The only thing I wish is that the shade Parched, which is the matte shade right here, I wish that came off more pale than what it actually is. It comes off quite a bit darker and more yellow than what it actually is, and I wish I could use that on my inner corner and things like that, but I can't. So I do have to use either like a brighter face powder or a different eyeshadow on my inner corner, which is okay. I have done looks with these metallic shades and honestly you cannot go wrong. One of the things that excited me the most this year was actually Makeup Revolution launching in Australia. So our Priceline chemists here removed NYX from their sales list and put Makeup Revolution in, and honestly I could go ham with Makeup Revolution products. However, there were 2 things here I picked up straight away the second I saw it in there because I wanted to try them so bad. They are the Conceal and Define Foundation and the Conceal and Define Concealer. These are the original ones, they are not the Hydrate ones or whatever. The foundation I got in the shade F2 and the concealer I got in C0.5. So the foundation is the second shade and the concealer is the palest. I'll go through the foundation first. First off, I actually really like the packaging. I love that it's a giant doe foot applicator and I just like rub it on my face. I love that. I don't have to pump things out on a palette or on my hand or things like that. I just pull it out and use it and it is fantastic. This foundation I can blend in with a brush or a sponge. It does probably last a little bit longer on my skin blending it in with a sponge because I press it into the skin. However, if I lose my sponge, if it just disappears from the face of the earth, I can blend it in with a brush. The reason why I don't blend my foundations in with a brush most of the time is I have to use a sponge for concealer, and I thought might as well use it for foundation too. Full price, this is $18, so it is a little bit pricey for affordable products, but honestly, it's worth it. This probably, apart from Estee Lauder Double Wear, this probably has the highest amount of coverage I've ever used in my life. It looks the smoothest. It doesn't look as intensely smooth as Estee Lauder Double Wear, but that's because this is a thicker formula. So it just looks so smooth, airbrushed, poreless, perfect. It doesn't irritate my skin. It just covers everything. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact I want some dimension under my eyes and things like that, I wouldn't even really need to use the concealer. I just use concealer to brighten under my eyes and things like that. But if I just wanted something to cover everything really quickly, this is, pardon me, perfect. Moving on to the concealer, this is the shade 0.5. I thought initially this would be way too pale for me, but most of the time I can put a concealer on and it'll be the perfect colour, like bright enough and really nice, and then I go to set it even with a stark white powder and it will darken so much. So this honestly is the perfect colour for me because it goes on too pale, but by the time I set it and it darkens a little bit, it is beautiful and brightening. Basically, this has become my favourite concealer. Again, because of the brightening colour, I don't have to mix it. Like for shade wise, I don't have to mix it. This really does remind me of the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer, but so much better. I can use this on its own and it is amazing. It is full coverage. Concealer still always creases on me and still looks really dry and textured all over my texture that's here. I cannot get it to go away. Everything I've researched said it's Milia, but it doesn't look like Milia and things like that. But if I have an extreme spot to cover up or something, so if I have an extreme spot to cover or something, this covers it up. It looks beautiful. First layer is full coverage. It's beautiful and brightening, and it's what I wanted the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer to be. Going on with a high-end product, I have this Mecca Max Skin Halo, which is a highlighter in the shade White Gold. This is beautiful. Honestly, I bought this product because I was looking through Mecca Maxima one day. I was wanting to just try a new highlighter and they had this here. It looked pale enough I could use it, and I don't have a white gold shade. I have Becca Pearl, which is a flat out just stark white, and then I've got, you know, Champagne Pop from Becca. I've got the Maybelline Master Chrome. I've got my Anastasia Starlight, but none of them were this white gold just straight off the bat. I had to mix them if I wanted that white gold shade. This is beautiful. I'm not wearing it at the moment. I actually just have the little like skin tone shade, or the paler skin tone shade from the e.l.f. Golden Bronzer on my highlighter at the moment. But pretty much since I opened this, like the beginning of November, end of October, I have been using this non-stop. It's one of those ones where I could just dip my brush in and get that real slight lit from within glow. More than what an Hourglass, that ambient lighting powder does, but it can give me that beautiful just washed over glow, or it can also give me that intense strobing look. Not as intense as say Becca and that can give me. Sometimes I do have to be careful. This can be a little bit too powdery up on my cheeks. I have to make sure I tap my brush off and really do have to layer this up because it can be a bit powdery. If you are someone that uses setting sprays, this does melt down beautifully with setting sprays, but the packaging on this is sturdy. It's really nice. This was like $20-something as well. The mirror's fairly decent. I mean, this is a really nice product. I have here this Australis Girl Boss Demi Matte Lip Cream. I have this here because, again, I tried this in that first impressions video, but I have not been able to stop wearing this since I tried it. This one I believe is in the shade Harmony or something like that. The sticker came off the end, and basically this is a Demi matte lip cream. It's got that flat applicator, very similar to the Colourpop concealer. I love these flat applicators. So this is a very pinky peachy nude, so I do tend to put on either my cool tone lip liner or just a very slight amount. However, the formula of this is so interesting. It's not like the NYX soft matte lip creams where it's like that moussey matte. This pretty much goes on like a slightly thicker lip gloss, like the NYX butter glosses, but thicker and amazing, like creamy and buttery and amazing. It goes on like a thicker lip gloss, but then it dries down so nice. So basically the way I describe this is it's like a lip gloss that dries down a little bit, remains glossy, remains really nice and like hydrating. It does not show the lines on my lips. It doesn't show like the dry texture. If I've got like, a huge amount of skin that's like built up on the inside of my lips. It doesn't emphasize that. I do have to say, personally, I have to wear a lip liner with it because otherwise it just does bleed outside my lip line. Another lip product here, this is the NYX Liquid Suede lipstick in the colour Soft Spoken. So I bought these last year, maybe the year before, I can't remember. But this shade I never really liked, or I never really liked this colours in general. The darker rosy, like those real rosy based nudes, like darker rosy based colours, I thought they looked horrendous on me. Something changed at the beginning of the year and this colour became literally my favourite. Once this colour is out, I am buying a full size, and that's pretty much the only shade I can say in the entire vault that I have that I would buy a full size. I love this colour. This is basically like what I would call my job interview lip colour. It's what I would call my first date lip colour, you know, things like that, where it's like your natural lip colour, a bit deeper, and it's yes, you have a lip colour on, but it's not super obnoxious. This I don't really think is something I mentioned on camera. I've got so many videos to edit, I cannot remember. But this is the Australis Clique Colour Correcting Concealer. This is the peach shade. If you've been following me for a while, you probably would know that I have been looking for a colour corrector for under my eyes for at least 2 to 3 years. I was looking around. I wanted to buy the Pixie one initially, but I was worried because it was in a pot. Things that are in a pot look absolutely horrible under my eyes. I knew people who would try all these correctors, then they'd try the Pixie one, and the Pixie one would be like they're amazing, like the one. But I was so worried to try it because it was in a pot. Anything that's in a pot or anything under my eyes looks horrible. And also a lot of colour correctors. I mean, Maybelline had those Dream Wonder ones or whatever. Their orange corrector was so dark, I don't even know if I could use it on my skin tone. That was the problem with a lot of orange ones that I found. So when I came across this, I was so happy to find it. I was a little bit skeptical about trying it because I hate the primer. But this, honestly, to describe this, it reminds me of the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, but slightly thicker. So it glides on real smooth, even with the doe foot applicator, it glides on real smooth and it just blends out like the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. I actually haven't tried it with the Maybelline one, but I reckon because they're almost the same formula, they would mix together really, really well. But this is pale enough, as you can see, and I just put a tiny little bit on the inner corners and I blend it out. Then I put my concealers over the top. Now this is probably, I think this is the first peach corrector I've actually used under my eyes. So I cannot compare it to any other ones that I've ever tried, any other ones. However, it looks really nice because the Maybelline Fit Me concealer is actually one of the best formulas for me personally. But it looks really nice, and it now allows me to use my concealers that are slightly less coverage. I've got the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous concealer. I don't know if you can get it anymore. And the Maybelline, the Face Studio, the Master Conceal one in the squeeze tube. I love them, but they just don't have enough coverage. And on me personally, if I have a concealer that's not full coverage, it will emphasize under my eyes. I pretty much want to say this is the best mascara I've ever used in my life. I want to try the Too Faced Better Than Sex one again. I only tried that about 3 years ago. I actually opened it for the first time and tried it on my 18th birthday, so that was 2016. Yes, September 10, 2016 was the only time, oh, not the only time, but that was when I opened my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Can't remember when I got rid of it. It's probably in an empties or something like that. But I want to try that again. So yes, I do need to try that again, but other than that, I'm 99% sure this is my favourite mascara. This is the mini size because I refuse to buy a full size mascara. I love this. It is so black. The fact that the bristles are just like in every different direction, it grips onto my eyelashes and it just volumizes them. I mean, obviously it's not going to look as amazing as falsies. I've got false lashes on now. I don't know if you can tell. Probably because I don't think I apply them fully right. But I mean, it grips my lashes. It looks amazing and fluffy and fluttery. Really, really nice. So again, doesn't give me that extreme drama. I can't really get that extreme bold drama that I used to get with mascaras anymore. But it is super black. It is a little bit of a dry formula, which I find is nice. Doesn't flake off. Not that I have that problem. Doesn't transfer, again, not that I really have that problem, but it is really, really nice. So if you're someone that really wants to try this, the mini size is available at Mecca Maxima for $17. That might be a bit pricey, but if you're worried about it not working, buy the small size first. Anytime I want to try a high-end product, I look and see if there's a small size first, like the mini travel sizes, and if there is, I will get it first. I do have here the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. This one is in the shade Fair Beige. This one is way too pale for me, and I think this may be the reason why I can't use it on its own. However, it is such insane coverage. I at one point was pretty much mixing this in with every single concealer that I used. Maybelline Fit Me, like there's some other concealers I bought that are too dark. So particularly my Physicians Formula Insta Ready concealer, love it, but it's just too dark. So I'll mix it in with this to lighten it, and it's great. I mean, I cannot use this on its own. This one is way too pale. It comes out like stark white, and because it is just too pale, I actually feel like that's why I can't use it on its own, because it does look so dry and heavy and like emphasizes all the texture I have under my eyes. If I go by a slightly darker shade and things like that, it may actually look better. Again, that's probably the reason why I didn't like the Colourpop one, but I still kept this shade because again, it allows me to use some of those other concealers that I have by mixing it in, but it is full coverage. It is matte. I still set all my concealers, but it is matte. It dries down, full coverage, and it does not budge at all. Beautiful. So if you're someone that can't use this on its own though, try mixing it in with like slightly more dewy concealers. It is a beautiful formula, blends really nicely, and as you can see, this is too pale for me. I don't think I've ever found a concealer that's too pale for me, and I don't think this is even the lightest shade, so I have no idea. But props to e.l.f. for making real pale ones. I don't know how deep they go because obviously I don't look for those sort of shades, but props to e.l.f. honestly. And this is only $10 in Australian Kmart's. These things are probably one of the best non-eyeshadow eye makeup products I've ever used in my life, and I told myself for years I was never going to use these, but I caved in. I have the Stila. These are the glitter and glow eyeshadows, so these are not the metallic glitter ones, these are the glitter and glow ones. I bought this little mini 3-pack, these are the mini sizes, months ago, I think at Mecca Maxima. Yes, that's where Stila comes from. And I have fallen in love. Honestly, these 3 shades are beautiful. I actually hope they sell the mini ones in other colours. I hope they do, because not only, like this set was like $30. So it might be a bit expensive, but like I don't use these enough to where I need a full size. It probably would dry up and like cake up and just go off before I would finish it. But this one is Follow the Sun. It's probably my most used one. It's like a yellowy, pale, very pale yellowy gold with bright yellowy off green shimmers in it. So these are the ones that have the eyeshadow, like liquid eyeshadow base with the glitter in it. So these are probably not going to be as insane glitter as the glitter ones, obviously, but these do just give you that extra oomph to your eyeshadow that's amazing. I do actually use the eyeliners I buy from Wish, like the glitter ones, as my glitter because it's just so much easier to use. But these do provide more of that metallic look aided with the glitter. Like the glitter just even, it's so much smaller that it just aids in that metallic wet look, but it's amazing. I've got this other one called Burnished Sienna, and this is like a real bright copper orange with, again, big gold glitter in it. I'm not going to swatch it because honestly every time you take some out of this, it's enough to take some out, so I don't want to be wasting these. I'm sorry guys, but I just can't afford that. This one I actually haven't used much. It's Sunset Fire, which is like a more pale bronzy shade with like pale gold glitter, like paler gold glitter in it. But these dry down They don't budge. Neither do my glitter one, my actual glitter eyeliners, but like these dry so much quicker. They don't bloody budge. And they just look amazing. This year I purchased a second Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. This one is in the shade Diffused Light. Before I had the shade Dim Light, and it looks like a beautiful beigey colour in the pan, like just like this. But when I put it on my face, it goes so orange that it is just horrible. I can only use it when I'm at my deepest, darkest tan. So I went and bought the mini version of the palest shade, which is Diffused Light. This is beautiful. So if I just want that super soft glow, basically I don't really put makeup on without putting highlighter on. So my SD card just got full. I have no idea where I was up to. But basically, I love the formula of the Hourglass powders. The other shade was just horrible for me to use. So I went and bought this one, and it's just beautiful. I can still get that matte look on my skin, but it's not like a dry, flat matte. Not that my skin ever looks dry and like that, but it just helps me still maintain that matte look. Or like if I'm going to work, because I do work in an oily environment, I will go oily very quickly. Very rarely do I actually wear makeup to work now, particularly because it's summer, we all get hot, it just melts off and there's no point. But I honestly I use this as a highlighter when I go to work, because it's enough to give me a glow and a bit of a highlight without being over the top, and it also just like without aiding in that oily look in my skin. So this one, I can just dust it all over my forehead, pretty much everywhere except for under my eyes. I can dust it anywhere. It just creates that beautiful glow on the skin, that lit from within glow, that healthy glow. I have a lipstick here, and this is from the Sephora brand. This is in the shade Tan Lines. So in the lipstick stories, it's in the shade Tan Lines. It's number 6. It's the like strange type packaging ones. I don't know. Shout out to the fact that they are actually like cardboard. I think that's great. But honestly, this formula surprised me so much, and I love this colour. There's cat hair on it because I have cat hair on everything I own. I freaking love this colour. I love how it's got the hashtag cream written into it. This is a cream formula. I don't know if their matte formula has hashtag matte in it or anything. This shade is beautiful. It does come off quite a lot more warmer orange on my skin in particular, but I do have this one lip liner from Wish that's a very cool toned colour. I put that on first. I put a little bit of this over the top, and honestly, this is beautiful. I love these. These are only $13 from Sephora. $13? That's less than what Maybelline lipsticks cost. Maybelline lipsticks are anywhere from $17, $18. It's full price. I never pay full price for pretty much anything if I can help it. But Maybelline ones are like $17, $18 at my local chemist, and these are $13 at Sephora. I probably would recommend you buying these first. Haven't tried their other formulas or other colours, but there is a few other colours I actually really want. But I love this shade. The formula is beautiful. This is actually pretty much the only thing that's not really a complete new product for me this year, but this is the e.l.f. blush in the shade Pink Passion. This is the only e.l.f. Studio blush I have left. I actually threw the rest of mine out because I wasn't using them and they were so old, but I just have to mention I discovered using this properly this year. I love, which you never would have thought a redhead would be using this shade. Yes, I dye my hair red, but I'm still a natural redhead, although my natural colour's changing. I love using this type of shade. I don't actually have it on at the moment, but I love using this type of bright pink to brighten up my face. Putting it on, particularly a matte one, will just matte bronzer, matte blush, it just brightens my face up, particularly if I'm doing even just winged eyeliner and some mascara, things like that. It really brightens my face up. It just adds a beautiful tone to my face. Obviously I don't swirl my brushing completely and make myself look like a clown, but just a really little bit of wash over my face and it looks beautiful. This year I discovered the Maybelline Matte Maker Powder, and this is my first one. There's a great big hole in it, and honestly I need to repurchase. This is in the shade 10 Classic Ivory. I don't believe they have many shades in this, but this has taken over from my Rimmel Stay Matte. My Rimmel Stay Matte powder was my favourite, but this has taken over purely for the reason that this is actually my shade. The Rimmel Stay Matte one I have to buy in the transparent shade, otherwise everything is just too pink. The other shades are way too pink or just too dark and horrible, but the transparent shade still darkens my foundation really bad. Other than that, it's perfect, but this one is my actual shade, if not slightly more pale, so if I have a foundation that's slightly too dark, I can pale it out. So this is still really nice, sets my foundation matte for ages, not as intensely like thick and mattifying for longer as what the Rimmel Stay Matte is, but I just like this a little bit more because it's actually my shade. So this is going to be repurchased quite a bit. So that was my favourites. Now we're going to move on to the products that I did not like. Not bashing these brands. I am not saying these brands are bad. I'm not even saying these products are bad. They just didn't work for me in one way or another. And so here we go. First one is, I actually got two samples of this, and I'm pretty sure it was mentioned in one of my favorites videos. I cannot remember when, but this is the Estee Lauder the Smoother Universe. This is the Estee Lauder the Smoother Universal Perfecting Primer. Basically, this is supposed to be Estee Lauder's version of that thicker silicone perfecting primer. This literally makes the surface of my skin feel so dry. Like, it's like that slippery, not greasy, it's just slippery, but so dry. My foundation, honestly, I haven't even wanted to try this sample. My foundation looks so like it was peeling on my forehead. I have never used a primer so bad in my life. I have this L'Oreal Infallible Sculpt Contouring and Highlighting Palette. This is a cream product. A couple of months ago, my local chemist was selling all L'Oreal bundles of makeup for $5, which is fine. I bought the specific bundle that I had for a couple of other products. This was not one of them, but I thought might as well try it. This is in the medium to dark shade, so it's not really a contouring shade, but it would work as like a bronzer. This blends really nicely, but it removes every ounce of makeup from under it. I've tried this over the top of like putting powder on and then bronzing, and obviously putting a cream over the top of something that's already powdered is disgusting and terrible, but if I just put this over the top of like my wet foundation, it just removes everything. The highlighting shade is not as bad, but it still does remove it. It's not a shimmery highlighter, it's just like a highlighting colour. So I probably would use it under my brows and like the centre of my face. It does that as well. I've tried brushes, sponges, my fingers, I've tried everything. It is terrible, removes everything, and it'll place the colour down as well, so I'll get a bronzed look, but I will have no foundation underneath. This is just a sample, but I straight up did not like this. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Foundation, which is so surprising because it's everything I would want. It's full coverage, it's matte, it has like that powder finish, it dries down, it stays all day, huge shade range, etc, etc. Now this is the second sample because I went and got a different sample just to make sure that it wasn't that specific bottle that I had. I went into a different store and, you know, the exact same thing happened. I did a first impression on this video, and I did a first impression on this foundation, sorry, and no. It goes on really nice, it's full coverage, it honestly doesn't last as long as I thought it would. It does melt down a little bit quicker and go a bit more oily quicker than I thought, but it looks so textured and so dry on my face, not like peeling dry, it's just like, again, texture, dry texture, which I did not have. I have here the Iconic London Face Illuminator Drops. Everyone loves these. Now, I did buy this on the Facebook Marketplace, and I'm thinking I got a dud because this looks nothing on my skin like what the drops do on everyone else. These dry down so funny. I almost like they dry instantly, pretty much, so I can't blend it as a highlighter. I've tried mixing this in with my foundation as well because I love mixing illuminators in with my foundation. But again, because it dries down, it dried down into the foundation on the back of my hand. Therefore, it just looked terrible. Again, dry and textured and like glittery almost. It did not mix well in with my foundations. It does not mix well on my face. I don't know if I got a dud. I probably did. You know, I probably got a fake. But again, I am disappointed because if I did get a fake, I went out to buy the real one. So, you know, bit of a dud. Don't know if I like these. Very disappointed, and I will be even more disappointed if it is a fake. I am so sad to say this, but this Colourpop lipstick in Appy, I did not actually buy this year, but I tried so hard to make it work. So this is the Colourpop lipsticks in the shade Appy. I bought this with my Colourpop haul that I did for my birthday 2018. This was advertised online on the photos to look like their pale nude shade, which I thought would be fantastic. I love the stars that are like patterned into the lipstick. This comes off, now it comes off, it looks like a very warm nude in the tube, which is fine, but on my lips it comes off like pumpkin orange. Straight up orange. I have tried everything to be able to get this to work for me. The formula is incredible and amazing, but I just can't get this shade to work for me. Maybe one day if I want a dark orange lipstick, that's why I'm keeping it, I will use it. But honestly, I don't like the shade on me. It makes my teeth look excessively yellow when they are not. And I wanted it to be a pale nude like what it looked like online, and it wasn't. This Pop Feel concealer I decided to try because I really like the color corrector, and this is the worst concealer I think I've ever tried. No coverage, looks so dry and textured under my eyes. This does not blend out. It looks horrible, terrible, disgusting, and I will never use this ever again. The MUD Makeup Design Volume and Lengthening Mascara is in this video because it does literally nothing. It's in the colour black, it says, but it honestly, compared to every other mascara I own, is like a dark grey. So if I'm using, say, a different mascara to thicken this one even more on my upper lashes, and then I use this one on my lower lashes look grey. It does literally nothing. It doesn't even really separate my lashes, doesn't add volume. There's so much product built up and caked into the brush that it just deposits it on your lashes, but like it doesn't volumize really, doesn't lengthen, doesn't really do anything, and it's too much of a dry formula to be able to use it, to be able to use a different mascara to thicken it, and it's also too dry to be able to put it over the top of another mascara. It's the weirdest formula I've ever tried. It is grey, not black, and it is honestly probably the worst mascara I've ever used. If that was the worst mascara I've ever used, this would have to be labelled as the worst powder I've ever used. If you saw my first impression video, you would know why this is going to be in here. This is the BYS finishing powder in green. I love color correcting. I love color correcting powders, and I bought this one because it was on sale for $1, and I thought, why not? Reduces shine, diffuses redness, BYS is cruelty free, and it was affordable, blah blah blah. Formula wise, this actually looked okay on my face. It was matte, set everything down, but this literally sent my face so stark white but bright mint green at the same time. I can't describe it. It was terrible. It was even brighter green than what it looked in the pan, and it's so powdery. It got everywhere, but it just sent my face so green. I just looked like an alien. I couldn't fix it. I tried to put my darker powders over the top and it was okay for the video, but I would never ever touch this ever again. And my last product for the entire video is this Model's Own lipstick in the shade Baby Kiss. This is one of their velvet lipsticks. Model's Own again is at Priceline Chemist. Now I knew this was going to be a pale shade, but where on planet Earth would I use this type of colour? Again, I've tried mixing this in with everything and the formula is just too dry and skippy. Like, it's too crayon-like, honestly, to be able to use it properly to mix it in with other lipsticks or stuff like that. So like if I tried to mix this one in with it, this would take over because this is just so dry. It felt funny on my lips. It smells like a crayon. Honestly, it is so cheap. I have another colour in it, but I know I will like that colour, so hopefully that redeems these a little bit. but the packaging is so cheap, and honestly it's just, this is the worst lipstick I think I've ever tried, let alone the worst lipstick this year. It's just as dry, it looks horrible on my lips, and it smells terrible, and no. Okay guys, so that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I have now been filming for over an hour, so this is going to be so fun to edit, but this is the pretty much first video of 2020, or my last video of 2019. I don't know when these will be uploaded. I'm filming everything super early, so over the actual Christmas period I can take a few weeks off and relax. So I do apologise for the fact this is being filmed pretty much a month early, but I really don't think my products would change. Thank you so much for watching. Products list, I will try and put them in the description box down below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for sticking with me for all these years, especially if you're someone that's been here since the beginning. If you're new, hello, please stick around, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.